You alright, David? You look like you had to put down your pet recently.
No, don't worry about that. Iris is fine and dandy. Lovely, in fact. She's a good doggo. No, I've been playing a game recently that's been making me feel sad. I can't really talk about said game by name. In fact, I'll be going out of my way to avoid calling it by name and avoid putting tags that'll link it back, so this may be hard.
Okay, so don't be trying to say the exact name of this thing. You'll just silence me. Why are you avoiding it?
Because it's a fan game and fan server of something Activision owns. Now, Microsoft owns. Those that know video games without a doubt know those names and can probably guess what the base game is. I'll tell the base game. It's World of Warcraft, a game I talked about a little bit when I reviewed the shit TTRPG that was made based off of it. The gameplay I'm showing, it's from the fan cave, and I'm trying my best to remove anything that shows what this project is. Hell, I'll probably drop little hints here and there.
Are you not enjoying this game? What's making you sad about it?
I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying bringing my friend into the game and showing her little bits about it, and teaching her. I'm loving remembering the stories I wrote for my characters I've made. I'm enjoying the nostalgia, and in all honesty, that's what's making me sad. The nostalgia. World of Warcraft was genuinely the game that got me into role-playing games. And I mean real role-playing games, not the stupid stats mean roleplay that so many developers seem to think. No, I mean when I sit down, write a story, and pretend to be that character like a child who finds a cool stick. I miss when I could do that in video games. I miss that about MMOs. WoW has two factions, the Horde and the Alliance, and those two factions build a lot of the game. Two-faction system gives you a basic to write your characters. You join the Horde, you can say you're playing an orc that hates night elves due to the battle for Mount Hyjal or something like that. You could know nothing about either faction, but the two-faction system gives you a solid ground to base your character on. Other games have trouble with this. I still don't understand the PvP in Final Fantasy XIV. What are the factions? Why are they fighting? Why am I getting involved as a dude from the desert across the globe? Or even from a different dimension in some cases? I don't know. It's even worse with Elder Scrolls Online. When the game released, there were 3 factions, and you could easily work with the whole thing and utilize the factions' disdain for one another. Then day 0, and they released a DLC allowing you to enter other factions as any race. And now you can go from the Orc City, which are allied with Dark Elves and I think Bretons, and go to the Argonian cities, which should be toxic anyway. I miss being able to jump into a game, make an easy idea for a character and such. I made a Worgen that had a venomous hatred of anyone, but even more hated the undead. I made undead that was regretful for the family he used to have and lost, but had even more hatred for the humans who thought he should die for a situation he didn't choose. I made a Tauren, my first character on the game actually, who just wanted to adventure but found himself hating gnomes because I actually can't remember, but it was some goofy reason to be honest. You can't really do that with most MMOs anymore, but some games still allow it. For example, Star Wars, The Old Republic, Sith vs. Republic, with the primary villain for both sides being the Empire sometimes. But there's a basis there. No matter what race you play, you're of one of the two said factions, and you're often separated from the other faction, which allow you to get into character and feel your character's disdain and hate. But SWTOR also has an issue. And what is that issue? Well, where can you go to play a character? I didn't really get into roleplay until the Cataclysm expansion, and with that expansion, the Horde and the Alliance had two major hubs for roleplay. The Horde went to Orgrimmar and went to the Inn in the Valley of Honor. The Alliance went to Stormwind, but I can't remember exactly where specifically because Stormwind has a lot of inn locations and the servers I was on were mostly Horde focused, not Alliance focused. I think the major one was the Garden District or something like that, the Mage Quarter, but every district has an inn that could be used, even the Church District if I remember correctly. But what about Star Wars? Where can you go? I mean, there's a hub for Sith and Republic, and sometimes you'll see a random individual in those hubs, or even in the starting zones. You'll almost never get anyone actually talking to you. With Final Fantasy XIV, you'll go to Limsa La Mimsa and pray. And usually you'll get a whisper by some pervert 9 times out of 10. But there's one thing that 14 has that WoW didn't have. Most MMOs don't actually have. In 14 you can make a character card, I think they were called adventure plates, which allows you to give some basic information about yourself or your character and put some flags for what you like to do. I have never seen another game do this, but WoW had some mods called add-ons by the game system and the player base. Curse Client is great. In World of Warcraft there were 2 or 3 add-ons that would work for it, TRP and MRP. I remember these two specifically. They allowed you to write a short descriptor of your character, physical and backstory stuff as well, and those with the mod or similar mods could view other stuff too. I remember with my Tauren, I wrote nothing but rumors about him in the backstory part. Some people would approach and talk about some said rumors. For example, one rumor was he was actually 7 gnomes in a cow suit. Funniest shit would come from that one, I tell ya. But physically, I wrote him as being well groomed with a lot of gold rings and jewelry across his body, with some bad scars across his body that show signs of being previously infected with parasites, plagues, and what have you. Sometimes that would be brought up. I wrote the character as being a plague shifter. His goal was to cure the undead plague because he found himself getting close to the Forsaken. Because of all this, the stories created between various different players created server-changing stories, some of which still echo today, and I played like 10 years ago. In 14, you'll have to find some free company events going on to really find an open roleplay. Most of them are people with houses in the game just doing perverse things, unfortunately. And I'll admit, there's almost nothing that can actually be done about that just because of how the internet works. But when I used to love about World of Warcraft, it's extremely rare. I miss making a character with damn near zero knowledge and building as I play the game and watch others. I miss being able to go to an area and just watch others play characters and see what stories are being created. I miss writing with other people and seeing the server change on a political and etiquette level because of character choices. Most of all, I miss the friends I could make by just sitting in the Valley of Honor Inn while in bear form, waiting for someone to just walk up and interact. I don't see that. You could argue that people are just anxious now. But I don't know you. You have a mask in a video game. On the internet, nobody knows you're a dog. Will I ever find that sort of love I had? Will I ever find what got me into role-playing and acting again? Will I ever go back to a time when the most I had to worry about was my spelling and grammar as I typed out my character's actions? No, I won't. But that doesn't mean I won't look for something to remind me of those times. I'm going to get back on that game now, and I'm gonna try and relive a time long since gone. Shove off.